Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the latest asteroid threat, 2024 YR4, lurking out there, in the vast cosmic dark. It's this chunk of rock and metal, hurtling through space at unimaginable speeds. And guess what? It might be on a collision course with our humble little planet. Is it dangerous or not? Should we be packing a go bag or planning for next year's eclipse? Let's find out. So picture this. December 27th, 2024, astronomers at the Chilean station of the Asteroid terrestrial impact, last alert system in Rio Hurtado, are peering through their telescopes, scanning the cosmos for any signs of trouble. And wouldn't you know it, they spot something strange. A faint blip against the backdrop of stars, an object moving fast, too fast to be just another twinkling celestial body. They'd stumbled upon 2024 YR4, an asteroid that had snuck up on us, practically in our cosmic backyard. Now here's the thing about asteroids, especially the ones that have the potential to ruin our day. They're dark, really dark, like cosmic ninjas lurking in the shadows of space. And because they're not exactly reflecting sunlight like a disco ball, they're incredibly difficult to spot until they're practically on top of us. It's like trying to find a black cat in a coal cellar during a power outage. Tricky, right? That's why 2024 YR4 only popped up on our radar when it was already relatively close to Earth. It was close enough to be illuminated by the sun, just enough for our telescopes to pick up its faint glow. Now let's talk size. Picture a Boeing 747, one of those massive airplanes that make you feel like you're traveling in a flying city. That's roughly the size we're talking about with Asteroid 2024 YR4. Or imagine a 15-story building, the kind that makes you tilt your head back to see the top. Yeah, that's our celestial visitor, somewhere between 40 and 90 meters wide. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is that big? Should I be hiding under my desk right now? Well, it's not exactly a planet killer, but it's definitely big enough to cause some serious damage if it were to, have a disagreement with Earth's gravitational pull. And here's the other thing. We're not entirely sure about its exact size just yet. Think about trying to measure a speeding bullet from miles away. It's not easy. Astronomers are hard at work, gathering more data, refining their observations to get a more precise measurement. But for now, let's just say it's big enough to be taken seriously. And how fast is this celestial bullet moving? Brace yourselves, folks, because we're talking about a speed of approximately 17 kilometers per second. That's like traveling from New York to Los Angeles in the blink of an eye. Now, for the million-dollar question, what are the chances of this thing actually hitting us? Well, since that initial sighting back in December 2024, scientists around the world have been glued to their telescopes, tracking 2024 YR4's every move like hawks. They've been crunching numbers, running simulations, and trying to figure out just how worried we should be. And let me tell you, it's been a roller coaster of probabilities. At first, the news wasn't great. The initial calculations gave 2024 YR4 a 1.6% chance of impact. Now, I know what you're thinking. 1.6%, that's not a lot. And you're right, it's not like winning the lottery, but it's also not something you want to see on your cosmic weather forecast. Then things got real. In February 2025, NASA, the big cheese of space exploration, issued a warning that made everyone pay attention. Their latest calculations showed that the probability of impact had doubled to a nerve-wracking 3.1%. But wait, there's more. Just when you thought it couldn't get any wilder, the scientific community threw us another curveball. Turns out there might have been a slight miscalculation in those initial orbital projections for 2024 YR4. Whoops! New calculations, based on more refined data, gave us a collective sigh of relief. The impact probability plummeted down to a much more manageable 0.28%. And if that wasn't enough of a rollercoaster ride for you, the European Space Agency, not to be outdone, chimed in with their own calculations, putting the impact probability at a relatively reassuring 0.16%. So where does that leave us? Well, in the world of asteroid monitoring, where fractions of a percentage point can mean the difference between a close shave and a global catastrophe, we're still in the danger zone. Chapter 4, Possible Destruction. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the asteroid in our orbit. What happens if 2024 YR4 actually hits us? First, let's get the big one out of the way. No, this asteroid is not going to cause another extinction event like the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. So, you can breathe a sigh of relief, put away the dinosaur costumes, and cancel your asteroid apocalypse party. However, before you get too comfortable, let's talk about what could happen on a smaller scale, and by smaller scale, I still mean potentially devastating. Remember the Tunguska event of 1908? No? Well, let me tell you a story about a remote part of Siberia where, out of the clear blue sky, an explosion ripped through the air, flattening trees like toothpicks over an area twice the size of Rhode Island. The culprit? An asteroid, or maybe a comet, about the same size as our friend 2024 YR4, exploded in the atmosphere. Now imagine that kind of energy unleashed on a populated area. We're talking widespread destruction, shockwaves, and of course the mother of all bad air days. Not exactly a picnic, right? Chapter 5, Potential Impact Zones. Now let's get a little more specific, shall we? Where exactly could this celestial bowling ball potentially strike? Well, based on those ever-changing orbital calculations, we're looking at a pretty wide swathe of our planet that could be in the crosshairs. Imagine a line drawn across the globe, stretching from the Americas to Asia, encompassing everything in between. Yeah, not exactly a small target. We're talking parts of North and South America, the Pacific Ocean, a good chunk of South Asia, including some very densely populated countries, the Arabian Sea, and even parts of Africa. Basically, if you live on Earth, you might want to keep an eye on the sky. And if you happen to call India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Sudan, Nigeria, Venezuela, Colombia, or Ecuador home, well, let's just say you have a little more at stake than most. These countries, according to our friends at NASA and the ESA, are considered high-risk zones. Now, you might be thinking, hey Neil, what about our trusty sidekick, the Moon? Could 2024 YR4 take aim at our celestial neighbour instead? And the answer, my friends, is a resounding yes. In fact, there's a small but not insignificant chance that 2024 YR4 might just decide to give the Moon a little cosmic kiss. We're talking a 0.3% probability, which, in cosmic terms, is like saying, well, it's possible. Now, you might be wondering, what happens if an asteroid hits the Moon? Does it get a black eye, a lunar crater? Will it affect us Earthlings down here? Well, if 2024 YR4 does decide to go rogue and target our lunar companion, we're in for a show. This impact, my friends, would release an unbelievable amount of energy, equivalent to detonating over 340 Hiroshima bombs. Yeah, you heard that right. The Moon would probably sport a brand new crater, bigger and bolder than any we've seen before. And to top it off, this cosmic collision would create a massive cloud of lunar dust and debris, some of which might even rain down on Earth. Talk about a lunar eclipse with a twist. So, the question on everyone's mind is, what are we going to do about it? Well, let me tell you, the folks at NASA, the ESA, and other space agencies around the world are not just sitting around with their telescopes, twiddling their thumbs. They've got plans, people, big plans. If, and that's a big if, 2024 YR4's orbit continues to look a little too close for comfort, we're talking about breaking out the big guns, or rather, the big spacecraft. One option on the table is the kinetic impactor, a fancy term for a spacecraft designed to slam into the asteroid with enough force to nudge it off course, kind of like a cosmic game of billiards. Then there's the gravitational tractor, a more elegant approach, where a spacecraft would fly alongside the asteroid for a long time, using its own, albeit tiny gravitational pull to ever so slightly alter the asteroid's trajectory. It's like steering a giant cruise ship with a gentle tugboat. And if all else fails, well, there's always the nuclear option. Now, before you start picturing Bruce Willis drilling into an asteroid with a nuke, let me clarify. Using nuclear weapons to deflect or destroy an asteroid is a last resort, a desperate measure for a desperate situation. It's messy, it's risky, and it's definitely not something we want to do unless we absolutely have to. Now, in the realm of planetary defense, not everyone is playing it by the same playbook. Enter China, a rising star in the space race with its own ambitious plans to deal with pesky asteroids. By 2030, they're planning to launch a mission that sounds like something straight out of a science fiction movie. A probe designed to ram into an asteroid and knock it off course. It's like a high-stakes game of cosmic bumper cars, and China's bringing a battering ram to the party. But wait, there's more. China's also been exploring the possibility of using nuclear weapons for asteroid defense. A strategy that's been met with mixed reactions, to put it mildly. While some argue that it's a necessary tool in our planetary defense arsenal, others warn of the potential risks and consequences of introducing nuclear weapons into space. It's a debate that's sure to continue as we face the growing threat of asteroids. So, there you have it, folks. The latest on Asteroid 2024 YR4. A cosmic cliffhanger if there ever was one. We've got this massive chunk of rock and metal hurtling through space, a slight chance of impact, and a whole lot of uncertainty. But don't panic just yet. The best minds in the world are on it, tracking its every move and developing plans to make sure we don't go the way of the dinosaurs. So, what can you do? Well, keep looking up, stay informed, and maybe brush up on your asteroid deflection strategies, just in case.